iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Show. FulltimeFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Full-Time Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Dr. Roto, get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, you know what I like to do? I like to go through the box scores, see if I can find a nugget, something out there that can help you win your fantasy football league. So let's take a look. We'll start it out with the Giants against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For the Giants, Sterling Shepard had 9 targets and Evan Engram had 8. Remember, they were behind. Garbage time. Giants aren't going to be like that every week. I like Golden Tate, who's coming back in about 2 weeks. Not week 4, he should be back week 5. If he's available in your league, let's see if we can get him. For Tampa Bay, Ronald Jones had 14 carries for 80 yards, so they want to get Jones involved. Agubunwale is only going to be receiving the ball, not running the ball. But I don't think there's anybody here. This was Evans, this was Howard. Ronald Jones had 1 catch. They like him a little bit more as a receiver than I do. But look, I think if Ronald Jones is available in your league, as much as I despise this guy, if Bruce Arians is going to use him, then you have to bid on him. You have to, okay? Let's go back to the Jacksonville, Tennessee Titans game. A lot of people don't do that. They don't look back into Thursday. But Adam Humphries is interesting. He had been talking about not connecting with Marcus Mariota. He had 9 targets, 6 receptions. So I was liking Adam Humphries as a safety valve, much like Cole Beasley, and I think that I would be looking at Humphries if I was desperate for a receiver. In terms of Jacksonville, you know, you've got your guys. You got Chark, you got Westbrook, you got Conley, you got Fournette. That's who they go to. If Chark is miraculously out there in your league, please stop what you're doing. Don't even listen to the end of this podcast. Get him now. I like Conley a little bit as well. Not as much, but I do like Conley a little bit. All right, the Jets are off this week. There's really not much I'm liking there, so thank God they're off. For New England, Phillip Dorsett, I think, is a guy you got to spend money on this week if he's out there. I think Rex Burkhead is a guy you got to spend money on. Phillip Dorsett had 7 targets and 6 receptions, plus he had 2 carries, so he is involved in this offense. That's a fact, okay? That's a fact. I'm not high on Sony Michel at all. So Rex Burkhead had 17 touches this week. Maybe, just maybe, Sony Michel is injured. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe Damian Harris becomes way more interesting than he was about 5 minutes ago. All right, Cincinnati against Buffalo. I'm not buying into Auden Tate. John Ross will play better. Don't worry about that. I don't like much here. I mean, Mixon and Ross and Boyd, that's what you're looking for. For Buffalo, though, Frank Gore had 14 carries, which was expected. And I think you'll see that this week because what's going to happen right now is that I don't think Singletary is going to play against New England either. So you'll see more Yeldon, especially because they'll be losing. So I think this is a Yeldon week. You could get sneaky Yeldon points here. And if you're really, really desperate, that's who I might be looking at. I think this is a Cole Beasley week as well. I don't think this is a John Brown week. Cole Beasley had 10 targets last week. 10. 8 receptions on 10 targets. This guy is very underappreciated, and we need to remember that. Miami against Dallas. Preston Williams had 12 targets. That's a lot. Jakeem Gant had 7. Devontae Parker 6. But remember, Albert Wilson is due back. When he comes back, he will get the targets. If Drake was dropped, I think I would pick him up. For Dallas, look, if Tony Pollard is out there in your league, this guy is legit. If Zeke Elliott should get injured, you want Tony Pollard. Now look at Wayne Gallman. When Saquon Barkley got hurt, Wayne Gallman's value is like $200. Before that, his value was like 2 cents. So you got to be thinking about these things. Also for Dallas, maybe somebody dropped Randall Cobb this week. I think he's a good pickup. Jason Witten has done very well in his time back. All right, Denver against Green Bay. Phillip Lindsay got 25 touches last week. Royce Freeman also had a bunch. Royce Freeman had 19. That's a lot. I mean, they're really splitting there. Noah Fant had 3 targets. Emmanuel Sanders was pretty much shut down. But you want Sutton, you want Lindsey, so that's what you're looking at there. For Green Bay, Jamal Williams got 14 touches of the football. Aaron Jones got 11. I know it's crazy, but that's what's happening there. So I think we have to look at Jamal Williams as a potential pickup. Valdez-Scantling had 10 targets. Devontae Adams only had 4. So Valdez-Scantling is a guy who's very viable in leagues. Very viable. All right, Indianapolis playing against Atlanta. So let's talk about this game. Jacoby Brissett may still be on waiver wires. I like him. All right, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. I like him. Nyheim Hines didn't do that much last week. He had 5 touches. I'm not big on him. I do like Ebron. I do like Jack Doyle. I like Paris Campbell. I even like Deion Kane. The problem is this with the Colts. All these guys will share. Now, if T.Y. Hilton is out this week, I mean, look, last week T.Y. Hilton had 10 targets. The next highest guy was 4. So it just shows you if Hilton's out, everybody could have 5 or 6 this week. 5, 5, 3, 3, 5, 5, 3, something like that. So don't spend a lot of money for any of these guys. For Atlanta, Ito Smith is dealing with a concussion right now. There's a lot of Devonta Freeman, Julio, Sanu, Hooper. I think we'll see way more Calvin Ridley this week. Way more Ridley. I think that's going to be recency bias. He's a good player. All right, Baltimore against Kansas City. Look, Justice Hill, I think we can cut, but Gus Edwards had 7 carries. If Mark Ingram's not there, Gus Edwards will be there. Now, when you look at the receiving, everybody got involved. I'm still thinking that Marquise Brown had 9, count them, 9 targets. Mark Andrews had 7. After that, it was Nick Boyle and Hayden Hurst, so he just loves throwing to the tight ends there. I'm not a Nick Boyle guy unless I'm in a blocking league, but I mean, so don't overspend for him. For Kansas City, I think Darrell Williams has to be looked at. I do. I mean, who knows what's up with McCoy and Damian Williams and Darwin Thompson, but if Darrell Williams is out there, you got to bid on him. I'm not going to tell you to bid a lot on him, but I think you have to bid on him. I think he's decent. He's everybody else you know to own on the Chiefs, of course. Minnesota against Oakland. This was a game where they were losing, so Jalen Richard was barely out there. I mean, this guy got 5 touches. So in a game they were losing, Darren Waller got 14 targets, J.J. Nelson 5, Hunter Renfrow 4. They got to get Josh Jacobs more involved in the passing game, but J.J. Nelson's somewhat interesting to me. If you're really, really, really desperate, I mean, they're going to be playing from behind most weeks. You know that they're going to try to go to Waller and Williams, but God forbid any of those guys get injured. J.J. Nelson does have experience. For Minnesota, I really like Alexander Mattison. I do. I'd be all in on him. God forbid something happens with Dalvin Cook. This is a guy that can get 20 carries for sure. Irv Smith had 3 targets, 3 receptions. Maybe he's better than Kyle Rudolph. I'm willing to drop Kyle Rudolph if you are. I don't need to hold on to him unless you feel there's some reason. I don't see the reason, but if you guys feel like there's a reason, you know, I'll respect what you're saying. I just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Because A, they don't throw the ball that much, and B, Rudolph is not a guy that's going to do well over the middle. And I just think that it's not a direction that I want to be going. All right, Detroit at Philadelphia. Ty Johnson didn't touch the ball as much as I would have thought. But Danny Amendola is a guy I'd still look at. He's interesting to me. Philadelphia, Jordan Howard touched the football 11 times, and Mac Hollins had 7 targets. But listen, if you think Jeffrey's coming back this week, Mac Hollins is a 0. You've got Ertz, you've got Aguilar, you've got Jeffrey. That's what you've got. And now Dallas Goedert is healthy. All right, Carolina against Arizona. Carolina's interesting because I think a lot of people are going to want to drop players, and I just won't do that without Cam. I think they're better off without Cam. Greg Olsen, 7 targets. Curtis Samuel, 7 targets. Don't get crazy with DJ Moore. He's a star. Okay, I think Kyle Allen will figure this out. So you want McCaffrey, you want Moore, you want Olsen, you want Samuel. Those are the guys you want. Don't worry about it. I told you this. I want Chase Edmonds. I think something's wrong with David Johnson. I can't put my finger on it, but he's not doing that much. So Edmonds had 3 carries last week, and he had 2 targets. Just throwing it out there. He may be interesting. Keyshawn Johnson is a guy. Michael Crabtree's done. Damian Bird is done. Trent Sherfield can't catch. I think if you're looking for a receiver, you've got Kirk, you've got Fitzgerald, and you've got Keyshawn Johnson. I mean, he's respectable in a team that runs a lot of plays and is busy on offense. So sometimes you have to look at that, like in terms of just simple production. That you got to be in on that. All right, Houston at the Chargers. For Houston, I'm worried about Duke Johnson. Touched the ball 4 times last week. Darren Fells had 5 receptions on 6 targets, and Jordan Akins had 3 receptions on 5 targets. They used the tight end. But you had Stills, who had 6 targets, so there was no Kiki QT, but I do like Stills and all those other guys. For the Chargers, just know that Melvin Gordon's due back, so be careful there. I think you're looking at a 1-week window for Justin Jackson. It's a really good window, right? Because he's playing the Dolphins this week, but it is a 1-week window. I think Melvin Gordon will be back soon. The second he's back, Justin Jackson has very little value, okay? New Orleans at the Seahawks. So for New Orleans, it's a major problem here. We've got Kamara, we got Michael Thomas, and nothing else. Really nothing else. For Seattle, CJ Prosise touched the ball 9 times. So if you're desperate, I like him. Geron Brown had 6 targets, but the guy I like more is David Moore. It was his first game back. I think he emerges as the number 3 receiver there. But Will Dissly had 7 targets. DK Metcalf had 6. Tyler Lockett had a whopping 14 targets. So he's certainly the guy to own there. We'll have to watch Rashad Penny. You know that Penny will be way more involved if he's able to play this week. That we're unsure about that right now. It's a little bit early in the week to figure that out. Pittsburgh at San Francisco. So you know that San Francisco's on the bye this week. But let me just talk to you about that. Sometimes when a team's on the bye, you can get guys at a discount. Dante Pettis, discount. Marquise Goodwin, discount. Jeff Wilson, discount. So take a look there. Pittsburgh, look, Benny Snell may get some more carries if James Conner is not right. Deontay Johnson, please pick him up. I talk about him every week. This is probably the last week he'll be out there. It's going to be Juju, Deontay, James Washington. Bam, bam, bam. Those are the guys you want to own. For sure, those are the guys you want to own. So please, I know we don't trust Mason Rudolph. I get that, but that's what we're looking at. All right, for the Rams against the Browns, I do like Rashad Higgins. I think this team is a little lost without Rashad Higgins. So if he's due back this week, I would pick him up for $1 because he's interesting. For the Rams, you already know the guys. I mean, it's Gurley, it's Cooks, it's Kupp, it's Woods. I don't really like Josh Reynolds unless there's an injury. I don't really like Gerald Everett because he's not very good. I like Tyler Higbee much more, but we don't know if Higbee's going to play this week. But I do like Higbee against Tampa, but once again, I don't know if he's playing, so I will tell you that if you pick him up, please don't spend much money on him. I just don't trust it. Finally, we're looking at Chicago against the Redskins. And look, Taylor Gabriel will get picked up by people. People will overspend for him. But I am worried. I mean, he's not going to get 7 targets every week. It was just a good matchup. Anthony Miller's got to start doing something. I expect that will happen. For Washington, Paul Richardson had 9 targets. Terry McLaurin had 8. Trey Quinn had 7. So they showed you exactly what happens when this team is behind, what they're going to do. And they showed their cards. The Redskins showed their cards in terms of what they're capable of when nobody's there, right? When it's garbage time. Quinn, Richardson, McLaurin, a little VD. You always want a little VD in your life. All right, time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. Now today, guys, I had an article on si.com/fantasy. It was my start sit article, so check that out. And of course, I know you're going to check out fulltimefantasy.com. You're going to enter the promo code ROTO50, and we're going to be so generous, we're going to give you 50% off your first 2 months because that's how we roll. All right, guys? So that's Inside the Box Scores. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to Full Time Fantasy. There's never been a better time to join and go full time. Visit fulltimefantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO50 for 50% off your first 2 months. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time.